Struggling to discuss sex and intimacy with your partner?
Not feeling met, seen, or heard in your relationships?
I'm Janelle.
And I'm Andrea. We're two midlife mavericks sharing our own experiences.
Messy AF and no regrets.
With marriage, divorce, polyamory, and pleasure.
We've learned that when you're brave enough to figure out what you want and ask for it,
with partners, friends, family, and most importantly, yourself,
you'll feel more alive and free.
Question everything, especially your mother's advice.
There's no rom-com formula for this, but don't panic.
Being alone matters. Honey, I can't miss you if you don't leave.
What if your breakup could be your breakthrough?
Our podcast is for brave hearts.
Anyone who seeks or has found the courage to confront their fears and limiting beliefs about breaking societal norms in the spirit of finding their truth.
If you're seeking permission to be brave in your relationships
and want to feel less alone along the way, we got you.
Hi, friend.
Hi, friend.
I'm Andrea.
And I'm Janelle. And welcome to our celebratory 100 episodes, but now we're at 101 because we're interviewing Andrea.
Yep.
And acknowledging how far we have come in the recording of this podcast.
Yeah, it started in recording in fall of 2022, we just realized. And we have come such a long way. It was not always an easy journey, but always a learning journey.
Yeah. Who were you back then? Way back then, Andrea. Who were some of the versions of you?
I mean, the podcast. I was talking about the podcast. But like life. Oh my gosh. Who was I back then? Well, let's see. I was married. I had a boyfriend, and I had a 12 or 13-year-old child. And now I am getting divorced. I have a different boyfriend, and I have a 16-year-old child, which is a very different existence, I assure you.
Mm-hmm. You also have a new career, or you're moving towards?
I do. I have a completely new business as well. It's been, my 40s were definitely a big time of learning and change, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It feels like nothing. It's amazing how I'm like, yeah, it just feels so different. Like I remember turning 40 and thinking, people telling me that, like I loved my 40s. Like nothing good happens to till your 40s anyway. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. Whatever. They were right.
Right now, because now you just turned 50.
I just turned 50. I was in my 40s back then too, and I just turned 50. And I feel whole and beautiful and wise, and 50 seems right. So I'm good with 50.
Yay. Okay,
yeah.
I love that.
I don't really have fear. I don't have fear or discomfort around it right now. So
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this episode, I'm going to ask you some different questions about what you are learning, what's new and exciting,
what's going
what you're
on,
working on, how you're letting go of form, what are you neglecting, because that's always part of it. And so let's just dive right in, which is, what have you learned lately?
What have I learned lately? I have learned to ask for what I want. And this feels like the fucking meaning of life, Bravehearts. Like I've been saying this a lot lately to everyone. I'm just like, no, are you asking for what you want? Please ask for what you want. Because you might think that you're asking for what you want, and you're not. I wasn't enough. I really feel like asking for what you want helps you know what you want and voice it. Then potentially see if that's available. And then what it also does is helps the other person know what you want so that they can give you what you want. And this is a gift. This has truly been a gift. So I'm really excited about doing more of this. And I catch myself in the moment all the time.
Mm-hmm. Bravehearts, this is like, I feel like this is like foundational to what the podcast has been about for the entire 3 years, was learning to ask for what we want. It's something that like we both, Andrea and I both learned from Brady Martin in The Art of Receiving and Giving. And yet it's like when Andrea finally got to the moment of her understanding what she wanted and asking for it, it was like, oh my gosh, it took that long. It took us this long to know it was important and then to feel it.
Yes. And I'd say it was a combination of Sophie Howell, who is a language empowerment coach and the maker of the Spirit Crowns, which we have worn in the first few seasons of our podcast. Amazing. Just really extraordinary person who helped me define and find within about 2 hours the core of my narrative and how that was impacting and coloring my choices, my partners, my adventures, and my slight hesitancy toward expressing my full self. So this was really big. And then the second part of my time with her, the other hour and a half of the 3 hours, was about me saying I don't know when I actually knew. And so she challenged me to not say I don't know for the next week. And I noticed myself saying I don't know when people posed me questions when I actually did know. And so what I realized was that if I pause long enough, and this takes practice, Bravehearts, I think I've really been practicing this for a few years. If I paused long enough and felt into what I wanted, I knew what I wanted most of the time. Because really the I don't know is just the hesitancy. It's the hesitancy, and because there's fear. There's really like about 4 things I'm scared of to say when I say what I want. I'm scared that I'm going to get rejected, that they're not going to give me what I want. I'm scared of being too needy. I'm scared that I'm choosing the wrong thing. Because there's a right and a wrong thing, isn't there? Oh, actually, turns out no. And that I wasn't being accommodating enough to the other person. That it wasn't what they wanted. And so then I wasn't being nice enough and giving enough.
That feels like people pleaser territory.
Yeah, totally. Such a recovering people pleaser. So yeah. So I mean, by practicing not saying I don't know and stopping and saying, oh, wait. I didn't know right away. And sometimes I didn't know in the moment or right then. But by doing this, I felt into what I did know, and I was able to voice that. So I'll just give you a couple examples of this too, where my boyfriend now, in a time of transition or when I'm anxious, will say to me, what do you need right now? And it is such a simple phrase, but it is it feels so good in my nervous system.
So what you wanted was him to ask you that question.
No, actually, I did actually. I didn't even know that's what I wanted. But that is what he's doing. This is what I've wanted for many years, right? Is for someone to just tend to me a little bit. Like, oh, Andrea, what do you need right now? I wasn't getting that. And I also didn't know how to ask for it, I think. But more importantly is that when he started saying that from the beginning, I would say, I don't know. And now I can feel in, because I do know in the moment what I need. Do I need something to eat? Do I need another hug? Do I need to get up? Do I need some quiet time? Whatever that is. And so this has been huge. And then the other example is that recently when I was having a really rough couple of hours, rough day, and he said, how can I support you? And I was like, I don't know. And then a couple hours later, I felt some dis-ease about that interaction and about our conversation. And I said, oh, I do know what I want, but I was afraid to ask for it. And the other important reason I was afraid to ask was that it felt like I shouldn't have to tell him, right? Because I was conditioned to think that we should be able to read each other's minds and that everyone knows how to support you, even though people have very different levels of support that they require and different kinds of things. That some people want to be left alone. Some people want to be tended to. Some people want to be hugged. Some people want to be helped.
And it can all change in any given moment. It doesn't mean that you want one thing. You want it every time.
Of course. So I texted him and said, oh, here's what I need. I need you to call me and check on me. I need you to say, I love you. It's going to be okay. I need you to say, do you want to talk about it? Maybe I need you to say, like, reflect back what I'm saying. That's it. That's what I need. And, his response is, thanks so much for telling me what you need. Great. So asking for what you want, fairly magical. But, it's taken me 50 years to figure it out. So.
And as a witness to Andrea having this revelation, it is like, it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful to see how I would describe it as like you fully coming home to yourself in a way, like you've been on the journey, right? It's not like, oh, you went from 0 to 100 in one go, but this step is just like the step that you've been like on this step for a while, waiting. We've been waiting. And then it's like, oh my God, it's here.
Yeah, totally. It's really true. And I'm sure I'll keep feeling in as I go. But I catch myself all the time now. I'm like, oh, I'm not fully asking for what I want. Oh, I'm not being my full self. So that's really, really big.
What is new and exciting? I've heard you mention this new boyfriend who seems to be very responsive and attuning to you. So I'd love to hear more.
So I think, yes. So I'm in a fairly new relationship. It's been about 3 months. So I don't think I knew that in a relationship there could be so much ease and flow. In my marriage, we had an amazing 20 years. We had so many adventures. We created a beautiful life. There was so much that was wonderful about that, but I would say ease and flow was not one of them. Like we just didn't often have that ease and flow. We had laughing, we had dancing, we had children, we had community. Ease and flow, not so much. And so now I have that ease and flow and I'm like, whoa, this is so different.
And it sounds like it's something that you are prioritizing that maybe you didn't even know, wouldn't have known to prioritize in the past.
Exactly. I loved my past partners, of course. But I feel like what's working now is ritual, is check-ins, is constant communication, is creating safe spaces. I am actually looking forward to our first conflict so that I can use my tools.
Thank you, Hazel Grace.
Right? Thank you, Hazel Grace. Absolutely. So this has just been very different and really healing and full of ease and flow and love. And I'm, we'll see. Like this is what's happening right now. And it is happening fast, but I can only talk about what's happening right now. As we know the danger.
And I've met him, Bravehearts. He's really lovely. And what I can also say is, what I feel Andrea doing and what witnessing you is staying in the present, right? Like, yes, it's not that you're not making plans about the future, but they're based on how much fun and joy and ease and flow there is right now. And which is lighting you up, which is I love seeing.
Yes. I feel very held and very taken care of and very loved. And so that's beautiful. That's new and exciting. Also, I have a new website, AndreaEnright.com. Going back to my name as my company, which is very different. I have let go of the boot factor and I'm helping women with midlife meh who feel like they have checked all the boxes and yet there is this internal ache like WTF, where did I go wrong because I'm not happy? And I'm embracing my love of dancing and music in my coaching by weaving that into my service and offering. I also have a monthly online event that talks about this same thing called Permission to Dance, how to change your life in 5 steps. Get it? I run into a lot of women who feel this way. They're numbing out to Netflix. They know that there's something missing, and yet from the outside, their life looks beautiful. And so I really want to help them come home to themselves and embrace life in a different way. So I'm very excited about that, and just feel like I am very aligned with who I am, right? All of my rivers, which I thought started happening probably 3 years ago, but all my rivers kind of flowing into the same ocean now. Everything I'm doing represents me in the highest form. That's how it feels.
I love that. I love that. And what I'm also just hearing you describe it that way is you are bringing what brings you joy, which is dancing and music.
Yes.
Into the journey, because it doesn't have to be hard to learn. These life lessons are challenging enough, right?
Yeah.
Can we infuse them more with joy, with dance, with play, with music while we're learning the lessons? And that's what I hear you offering to women.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just so much heavy shit, right? In this personal growth. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. So there needs to be joy. And yeah, I'm excited to bring that.
Yay. Yay. And so how are you letting go of form? We talked about this in the last episode.
Right. Yes. So I am letting go of form in that I chose to get on an anti-anxiety medication, which was a huge source of shame for me for many, many years. I was definitely felt guilty, felt bad. I didn't want to be medicated. And in this past year, it was a very difficult year going through the divorce. And even though we got divorced in love and it feels very aligned and we have lots of goodwill and we're still very good friends, it was a big transition. So I chose to be on anti-anxiety meds, and they're working for me very well. And I feel lighter and I feel no detrimental side effects. And I don't think it's impacting me in a negative way. So it was a big hurdle for me. And it's really, it's really vulnerable even to talk about it.
Is this your first time ever being on those?
Yeah. First time. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, I commend you and your courage, because I know you have said many times over the past year how much they've made a difference for you. And I've also witnessed you. It's not like they're helping you avoid the challenges and the growth and all the things that they're going through, but I have definitely witnessed you be able to handle the stresses and the overwhelm in a totally different way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I really, really feel like I have. I also doing this thing where I'm reclaiming the mountains. So I have sort of notoriously rejected the mountains for many, many years.
Bravehearts, we live in Colorado, just so you know there's mountains here.
There's a lot of mountains, and everyone fucking loves the mountains, and everyone talks about the mountains. And sure, the mountains are pretty, and when I go, I'm glad I went, and nature is lovely, and it's great to commune with it. And I also have always said and really feel as it's not really my favorite landscape. Like, I came out here because it was different than the plains, because I like the people and the culture. And the mountains are just like not really my thing. I'd rather be in a forest with moss and lots of ponds and wildflowers and waterfalls. I just need more humidity. It's just a little too dry for me out here. And so I've traveled a little bit more to the mountains in the last 9 months. My boyfriend lives a little closer to the mountains, so I've been a little more exposed. And I'm just like, gosh, I just keep wanting something different. And I'm like, okay, I'm letting go of form. Like, this is nature and it's also beautiful. And I'm being stunned by it and I'm appreciating it and taking it in. Now I'm really embracing the mountains and taking a lot of joy from them, finding delight, finding awe, which I find to be, really healing. So nature doesn't have to look a particular way. And I think that's really important. And in that process, I feel like I'm coming really full circle with my life, because when I first came to Colorado, I went into the mountains and was full of awe and loved them so much. In fact, the first time I came, I was living in Denver. I was living in Boulder, and I had an internship in Denver. And I dated someone that summer who took me into the mountains and showed me everything. And we went to Ouray and, sat in the naked hot springs and went over Engineer Pass. And we stumbled upon this mining camp when we were hiking. And inside the mining camp shack were these like boxes and boxes of these mineral samples. So they were like long cylindrical things that were like blue and white, kind of just like some kind of a sample of a rock that was clearly in Colorado. And I took one of them. There was hundreds. And I kept that thing for years. It went everywhere with me. It was part of my stuff. It got transferred from bin to shelf from my parents' house from 1996 until about 4 years ago when it broke. I treasured this thing and I was so upset when it broke. And I was like, okay, whatever, have to let go. So I'm sitting on my boyfriend's porch or deck last week, and I look over and I see a box of these mineral samples. I've never seen them before in my life, except for that one time. The exact things. And I'm like, oh my God, I've just come full circle back to Colorado.
What I'm hearing is that the mountains are as beautiful as moss and humidity, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And so what else are you working on right now?
I feel like I'm working on the science of manifestation, reclaiming my focus, getting clarity, removing obstacles, setting intentions, taking action, and letting go of attachment. That's kind of the steps. So I'm working on that. I'm working on endings. I've ended a lot of things in the last year, but I feel like there are probably still a few things I need to let go of.
That's something that we actually did at Burning Man, where we talked about conscious endings and to ritualize an ending, even if it's like, if it's a person, they don't have to be present, right? But that you're just, and especially if you have objects, to like let go of these objects. And so that's actually something that we did on our way into Burning Man when we stopped at one of the canyons on the way in, is that we did a ritual of letting go and creating a conscious ending for a whole bunch of things that we didn't want to carry with us into Burning Man.
Ah, beautiful. Okay. Yeah, it's like, what, if you can think about it, what do you not want to bring with you into the next part of your life?
Yep. And to honor that it was in your part. So it's not like, I'm just going to leave this backpack and like drop it at the side of the road. It's that, no, I'm going to like intentionally like take the thing out, honor it, hold it, maybe like blow a kiss onto it and say thank you with gratitude and release you, that we're complete now.
I love that. Okay. Yeah. I recently posted as well about endings and how, in general, I think in our country, in our conditioning, in our pop culture and what we consume, we're taught to start things and we're really not taught to end them.
Beautiful.
Like we are taught to start projects and friendships and relationships and school and courses and yet, and ghosting has become a verb and, right? I mean, people ghost constantly. It's not even that hard. All we have to do is text back. And yet people are just like, nah, we'll just end. And we'll it's more of an unconscious ending.
Yes.
Because I think we don't know how to end. And I totally honor that. It is hard to end things. It's hard to end relationships. And it's hard to end projects. It's hard to tell people that you're not going to do that anymore. So I'm learning, definitely working on endings still. And I'm also working on being very conscious and compassionate as my daughter is splitting time between two houses. So she's going to be spending a week with me and then a week with her dad, going back and forth. And this, definitely have a lot of shame and guilt around this. Words like mom's boyfriend and dad's house make me feel like I'm the subject of an after-school special and the focus is divorce. I really fucking hate them. But this is life and this is my best self. And so I just have to keep going back to that. She's getting her license. Instead of saying, she's not going to see me as much, I'm thinking, she's going to have more freedom, more empowerment, feel less imprisoned, feel less forced. And I think with that will come more empowerment and more intention to see me when she wants to see me and see her dad when she wants to see him and see us both when she wants to see us.
Yeah. And I feel like that like those two things are combining. But like I remember getting my license, the sense of freedom. My parents were together, right? Like my family was like, "Oh my gosh, I get to leave." Right. And so that feeling is going to be there. The divorce is just like another side. Like I can just imagine that the car in some way is like, it's epitome of like this next chapter. And so what is lighting you up these days?
Yeah. What is lighting me up? I think that my boyfriend and I are finding a lot of magic in the mundane. To your point, last week when you talked about Mary Oliver's poem in the delight, reading poetry, looking at art, cooking meals, feeding the blue jays. And I'm constantly reminded to keep taking pleasure in those mundane activities, even washing dishes. And I really think, my boyfriend is amazing at that. And it's such a great model for slowing down and doing that. Daybreaker is fucking awesome. Like, can I just do a little promo for Daybreaker? Like,
please.
It's like a drug high for me, and Daybreaker really serves that up.
What is that? What is Daybreaker?
Daybreaker is a global movement where people come together during the day with a DJ, with say a music curator, and people come and they dance and they dress up and they interact with strangers. And it's all during the day. That's it.
And it's sober.
It's sober. It's completely sober. Absolutely. No drugs, no alcohol. There's usually some giveaways from people sponsoring particular drinks. I've been to one at Red Rocks. I just went to one at Union Station. There's one at the Dairy Block in Denver next month. And it really fills my glitter cup up with stranger interaction, with dancing, with physical exertion, with emotional release. You can tell there are people who are ecstatic dancing. There are people who are interacting with strangers. There are people who are standing back and watching. It's all mixed together, and it's very encouraging and very supportive. So I highly encourage that. I love it. I've also been doing dork dancing in Wash Park. Have I told you about that?
No.
So it's like for mental health awareness. Somebody started it a few years ago, and it happens twice a month in a local park. And it's just somebody with a speaker, and you just go and dance, and that's it.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like so easy, and it's free. And Daybreaker is also very affordable. It's 20 something per time. So dancing's great. Silent disco is also great. Shout out to Lee Orn with her joy sets there. Florence and the Machine has a new CD out on Halloween. Super excited about that. Love Florence and the Machine. She's totally my goddess. Downton Abbey has another movie. Trader Joe's is coming to my neighborhood.
Wow.
So excited about that. Yes. So those are like little joys, even though the traffic's going to be horrendous, and I'm a little bit nervous about that. But yeah, Trader Joe's in my neighborhood, that's like a dream. Let's see. Also, the reemergence of old people in my life. So fascinating how people from many, many years ago, I'm talking like Chris has become my client. She and I met like 2002, right, in Denver.
Wow.
Like vaguely in touch over the years, but now she's my client. My friend Jennifer, we met probably 16 years ago at a food party. Haven't really talked to her since. Now we are good friends, and we are voxing on the reg. And just I've had a few more examples of that, of people just who had exited my life a long time ago and just reemerged and have become really good friends. So
I love that. That is, I feel like it's like adds a new layer to our episode that we did on the seasons of friendship. Right? Where like, oh, like sometimes like, we talked about it in the way that people like are in and then they're out. But what I love you're bringing around is like people are in and then they're out and then they're back in again.
Yes.
Right? So that they're like the seasons can flow ongoing.
Yeah. I mean, proximity speaks volumes, the stage of life, what happens, but some core of me spoke to some core of them and vice versa a long time ago. And it's still there. right? And so
Yeah.
the universe has put us back into each other's life. So that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I also will say that, Janelle, you reminded me, I think, a couple times when I felt like I didn't have, like I was sort of in a drier season of friendship, like, oh, things were moving away, no fallouts, just a shifting of communities, of circumstance, of children. And I was like, wow, I've lost, 3 or 4 important people in my life, along with a couple communities in the last 2.5 years. And yeah, that was hard. Like not all at once, but just slowly over time. And I do think that is also a message, though, to turn inward and say, oh, it's time for just me to be with just me.
Mm-hmm. And tying into what you were saying earlier about endings, right? Is that every ending is a new beginning. So if you can allow something to leave your life, especially consciously and gracefully, then that leaves spaciousness. Like there's energy there. When whether it's at first you go inward and then there's more space, there's no order to this. But just recognizing that what seems like with every death there is a rebirth.
And this is something Elizabeth Gilbert talks about a lot, in that, how can we move space so that we can receive new messages, we can receive new people, and receive new inspiration, receive new creativity. I think I have definitely struggled with that in general. I have struggled with impermanence so much. Like, no, I like things to just stay the way they are. And letting go has become something I'm aspiring to now.
It's so funny because I feel I learned the lessons of impermanence through you, because that's like you learned that concept through Shambhala, I think like years ago, and I didn't know about it. And so you have said, well, everything's impermanent for our whole relationship.
You're kidding.
And I did not know what that meant until I figured it out. But yeah, you're the one who taught me.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Because that's something else that is coming back into my life is meditation. I'm going to meditation class. And that message is coming back in too. The same messages that I learned maybe 12 years ago. Yeah, impermanence. I think the pinpoint of impermanence is that it's something I say to my clients, and I'm like, look, impermanence is a bitch. Like, it just is. Like, things are always changing, and I hate it. But I'm so much more appreciative of it now. Like, and I truly, this is one of the most fundamental changes for me, is that I know as soon as something happens that I'm just like, oh, I know it's going to be different by next week, like, or next month.
Right. Like, and it might not even be that long. I remember, so we interviewed Amelia Broughton on Human Design on this podcast a few weeks ago. Yeah. And when I had a reading with her, this is several years ago now, something that she said was, if you're feeling uncomfortable, just stand up, because it'll change once you change.
Once you change your position.
Once you change your position, however you're feeling is going to change. And so it can be like that immediate.
Yes, I know you're right. You're absolutely right. And I used to say too, I think that one of the lessons I learned during polyamory with my husband was that I heard about something at night and I would say, no, we can't do that. No, that sounds awful. Absolutely not. No is the answer. Do you hear me? And then I learned to say to him instead, like, you know what, let's see how I feel tomorrow morning. Like, this doesn't feel good now, but let's wait. And it was always softer in the morning. Maybe not an entire change, but definitely a different reaction.
Yeah. So speaking of that, speaking of polyamory and impermanence, do you want to mention your relationship right now and the status that you're in?
That's a good point. Yes. So I am currently in a monogamous relationship. And that feels very different. It definitely does.
So how did you come, like, how does that, obviously I'm guessing it feels good, but I'd love to, for our brave hearts and for me, to hear a little bit more about how you've landed there.
Yeah. I have said, and I remain steadfast, that polyamory was my biggest personal growth catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me to turn back toward me. It helped me reframe the paradigm of my relationship from unconscious to conscious. It helped me devote myself not to a container of marriage, but to the most extraordinary expression of myself and of my partner. And ultimately, no, and I'd say right now, I am comfortable in a monogamous relationship. I don't know if that will change though. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am enjoying the devotion of this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I had met the same person 20 years ago, like it's not about monogamy. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's not about monogamy being like my favorite or polyamory being my favorite or one being right or wrong or better for me. They think they just fit better for different times, different circumstances, different partners, different timing.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now, yes, the devotion to one person is feeling very good and very pure and very whole for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm loving that. Yeah.
I love that. And I've always felt that polyamory actually includes monogamy. It's not exclusive of it because there's so many seasons of polyamory as well. Like in the 10 years that I was doing non-monogamy, it looked very different many times. And for me, polyamory allowed me to see what is true for me in the moment. And so what I hear you saying is monogamy feels really true for you in this moment with this person, and that'll be true for as long as it's true.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing I've noticed too is that I am pretty accustomed to flirting with who I want, dating who I want. And I've been doing that for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is a long time to have a completely free and open reign over who I date and who I have sex with and who I kiss and who I go out with. And that's really different. It is a different, it's been a shift for me of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Not difficult at this moment, but definitely different.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. I feel like an episode could happen about that at some point.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I'm curious if you could describe your definition of monogamy, because like you just said, like, I'm not like you're used to like having a full reign, right? Are you still like, and you are such a lover of strangers, like is flirting off the table? Is, I'm guessing, kissing and obviously sex are off the table, but like what, like where in that gray area of flirtation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would answer that I think I'm fortunate to have always felt like I could be my full self with other people. A little bit of flirting, male friendships, seeing men as other humans rather than just males, and taking magic and interaction from those, and that's fine. Yes, so I would say that's the container I'm in, that I feel comfortable doing that and expressing my full self. Obviously without any other relationships or physical or intimacy. Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard for me to imagine not doing that.
Okay, so Andrea, I know we just mentioned that you're in a monogamous relationship, but you also, as I have insider knowledge on, are exploring a new dynamic within the relationship of DS, Dom Sub dynamics.
Yeah, Dom Sub dynamics. Right. Something that Janelle has been talking about for like years, literally. And you're like, this is how I've experienced it from you, right? It's like, you're buying these cool belts and these like outfits, and you're going through trainings, and you become a dominatrix, and you've acted out scenarios. This is just my impression of, and you've taught me about how it's so much more than what kind of society might pin it as or stereotype it as. And there's such a power dynamic, and that it's equal, that the sub and the dom are equal. One of my past relationships, I did have a kind of escape where I would go there maybe once a month. And while I was in charge of getting there, once I got there, it was all him, right? He decided what we would eat and what we would watch and where we would go and when we would go in the bedroom and when we would come out and all of that. And it was very relaxing to have someone else deciding this, making these decisions. I had a say in all of it, and it wasn't an official sub-dom agreement, but it definitely was a way to relax my nervous system because I was in charge in so many other places in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear this from a lot of my clients too. It's just like, oh, I'm just always in charge. Couldn't someone else just figure it out?
Right.
So I knew I wasn't alone in that dynamic.
However, I also want to say I knew everything about this relationship, and we never called it the DS dynamic. Even when I was going through my training, we just said, we described it as you were escaping, right? Because it was out of town. So
yeah,
we didn't, it wasn't until our dinner that I was like, holy fucking shit, you were in a DS dynamic. And we just never named it as such. And so like all of the wisdom and the knowledge that I hadn't like offered it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it did come up for me as you did the DS stuff, but we never talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't really remember, but at the dinner, you're just like, oh, well, maybe you want a dom, like you want someone to dom you. And I'm just like, what do you mean? And you said, maybe you just want him to tell you what to do. And
Your new boyfriend.
Oh,
yeah.
My new boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all I could think about it was in the context of the bedroom, right? Like bossing me around there, which I'm like, okay, sure. We can play with that, I guess. Like I'm okay.
And that's fine. And that's great. But there was something more that you wanted.
Yeah. I think I just didn't ever apply the dom sub dynamic to everyday life. But then Janelle had just had this with her dom where they talked every morning as well as having sex sessions. And I realized that I could actually request and ask for what I wanted of my boyfriend to say, like, I just want you to decide. Could you just dom me about this? Right. And I'm just barely understanding what this is. So like even explaining it right now is a little challenging. But so I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want. Like, I want you to decide if we're going to split the chicken salad sandwich or the eggs Benedict. I want you to decide what I'm going to wear to yoga. I want you to decide if we're going to go inside or we're going to stay outside for dinner. Like all of these things. I'm like, which movie are we going to watch? What are we going to do tonight? Like, oh my God, it's like such a huge relief. I'm just like, yes, that's exactly what I want. I was so excited. Yeah.
We were so excited. But because you were also like, well, what if I have a thing of what I want to do? I'm like, you always get to say what you want to do, but you can just tell him to buy the ticket.
Right. That is the beauty of the sub-dom relationship. So yeah, I was like, wait, he can't always be in charge. Like he's not always in charge. He's just the one leading it. There's a lot of hesitancy for me on this. I was like, can I still be a feminist and do this? Can I still be a strong woman and do this? And yet internally, I'm just like, oh my God, this sounds like such a relief. And what Janelle suggested at that time was, oh, well, yes, it's that he's going to take care of these things so that you can actually put more energy into your business, into your motherhood, into your life, into your house. And I love this idea. So I was so excited about this prospect. I literally went from Postino, the restaurant that we were at, got in the car and drove directly up to Morrison to go talk to my boyfriend about this. And I was like, he was like, surprised to see me. I mean, we were only like a month and a half in at this point, and like it was fine to go unannounced, but I had never gone to his place unannounced before. And of course he was like, okay, what's going on? And I was like, I have something to tell you. He's like, okay, should we go in the bedroom? And I'm like, yes. So we go lay down and I'm just like, okay, I would like you to be in charge. Like, I would like you to tell me what to do. I would like you to dom me more often. And he's like, okay, I'm down. Let's explore that. Right. And so literally, so we have played with this and there is a beautiful dynamic then that happens in the bedroom. But then also there is, what happens is that he just tells me what's going on more often. And we're still figuring it out. Like, how often does he do it? Do I want it all the time? I'm not sure. But it is such a relief to see in a text See you at yoga, wear the heart pants. Right? Right? Don't you love that?
I love it.
That's a good text. Right? And then that's happened like a few times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're having this. And then sometimes I'm just like, hey, he's like, what do you want? And I'm just like, I need you to decide. He's like, okay. Yeah, it's really been amazing. So I have a whole new appreciation for this dynamic.
I'm like grinning ear to ear. And Brave Hearts, you have like when we were at this dinner, we were like high-fiving. It felt like this was actually the entire point of all 100 episodes of because we were out to dinner to celebrate that we were recording 100 episodes. And it was just like, oh my gosh, we figured it out. Like we figured like life out. I think you said in the beginning, right? It's the miracle of life is asking for what you want.
Yeah,
and
the meaning
mm-hmm. of life. And so Andrea, knowing that she just wanted to be told what to do, and that didn't mean she wasn't a feminist. It didn't actually take away anything other than it gave her, the way I see it, is gives you more joy, more energy, more focus. Like you're not wasting energy on the things you don't want to make decisions on because you don't care about those decisions enough to waste energy on them. And that's means you have more energy.
Yeah. And I will tell the brave hearts listening who think, well, no, I don't want someone telling me what to do. A, I get that because I probably would have balked at that as well if I just heard it on a podcast. Mm-hmm. And B, no, I have very specific preferences. I know what I want for lunch. And if it's not this, then I'm not going to be happy. This is how I used to be too. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way to be, but I am actually happier having let go of some of that. And just having someone else decide. It's working for me. And even though it's a little counterintuitive, I would say.
And also, as you said, it's not for everything. You're still an entrepreneur running your own business.
Of course.
You're still a motherhood, choosing all the decisions for your daughter, right? Like you're making plenty of decisions. You are still in charge of plenty of things. You are the one choosing what you don't want to be in charge of, not him.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's a great line. Mic drop. Great. Yeah, it's really true. Oh man. Okay. Yes. That was important update.
Yes. Okay. So let's finish it off with what's a good quote that you are loving?
Yeah. So Andrea Gibson is a poet who lives in Boulder, quite famous as an activist as well. And she recently passed away. And she said, I know most people try hard to do good and find out too late that they should have tried softer. Love this. Like so beautiful and so applicable in so many ways in my life. So really honoring her and her words.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she has left an impact on me as well. And so we're going to leave you with that, brave hearts, as it's an invitation to do good and try softer.
And Bravehearts, if you are in Denver, come and see us talk in October on Halloween at Creative Mornings. Creative Mornings is a global phenomenon. It takes place every month all over the world. People talking about creativity, inspiring others. It's a free event, and I'd love to see you there. Janelle and I will be on stage in all our permission, glitter, and glory. Yay.
Yay. And we are also bringing back for the fall our Permission to Be Human workshops. We're going to be hosting them at the Goddess Temple. Our next one's September 11th, and then the one after that is October. So we have them the second Thursday of the month. Second Thursday of every month.
That's right.
And next week is we're starting our season 5, which is going to be learning to be brave in relationships, building a relationship with God. Because, we're going back in. We're going deep into the taboo topics of our own spirituality and divinity with others. We're going to be interviewing brave hearts, experts, and each other.
Absolutely. Tune in for that. How to build a relationship with God or spirit or the divine or the universe, whatever you call it. We love you, brave hearts.
Love
Bye-bye.
you. Hey, brave hearts. Looking for permission?
Work with us. We offer Brave Heart Coaching.
Follow us on Instagram.
Meet us in real life at a Brave Heart conversation.
Subscribe to our newsletter.
Do all this and more at our website, permissiontobehuman.live.